Good evening, everybody. This is Sheila Singham in Kuala Lumpur, and it's another Friday, 5:30 in the evening, and we're back with the Sheila Exchange. And today it's talking about the bogeyman that's scaring all of us into staying at home, I hope, about COVID-19. All right, and how to face this. We in Malaysia have been under lockdown, and then it was eased up a little bit, and now it's become more stringent. We're under restricted MCO, and really it's no fun. So we decided this week that we'll talk about this and why we should take this seriously. Should we take it seriously even? I have with me today two guests. I have with me Dr. Shelby Kho, who is a medical doctor by profession. And I have with me, Dr. Shelby is in Kuala Lumpur at the moment. And I have with me Ejaaz Idris from Canada, who is a recovered COVID-19 patient. And yes, he's there, well and kicking and alive in front of us. So you can recover from COVID-19. So let me just ask my guest today to tell us all a little bit about themselves. Dr. Shelby. Dr. Kho.
Hi,
Should I call you Dr. Kho or Shelby or Dr.
You can
Shelby?
just call me Shelby.
I'll call you Shelby. Okay.
Yeah.
So Shelby, tell us a little bit about yourself. You are a medical practitioner who doesn't practice. Okay.
Yes, I've left practicing medicine for a while, indefinitely. I currently have a very petite rocks and minerals and wellness tools business. I have a very deep and profound interest in wellness. So it is something that I'm currently pursuing. I'm also doing a little bit of research in positive psychology, because I feel that like good thoughts transmits and translates into good health. So this is what I'm presently at now.
A woman after my own heart, because as you all know, I'm a trainer and I'm a coach and a strong advocate of the mind-body-spirit connection, and I believe all are interrelated, and how you perform in one area would impact the other areas. Ejaaz, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So I'm up in Canada. I was born in KL and I emigrated over in the early 2000s. Right now I work for a school board, one of the third largest school boards in Ontario. We serve about 124,000 students across the province of Ontario, and we have about 230 plus locations. And I work in information technology, so I do come in contact with various people on a daily basis.
Yeah, we can so see that because you got the Bluetooth, headphones, and we're the old-fashioned people, Shelby, you and me. Mm-hmm. So really a techie over there. So, okay, Ejaaz, I'm just gonna, start asking you some questions first. You know, when this whole COVID-19 pandemic hit the world, everyone was like, oh, it's happening in China, it's not going to affect us. And then slowly it started affecting us, and we are closer to China, we got a bit nervous. But how did the people in Canada first respond to it? How did you first respond to it when you heard about this strange illness?
Well, a lot of folks in Canada were quite calm about it. I think we had that complacency where we thought that, oh, there's an ocean that separated us, that we had time, and that it's a Asia only type of virus, right? But I think as February rolled around and we got more and more infections in Europe, we started to see the wave, and I think people started to build a certain sense of panic. But I think if I can be a bit biased, maybe, I compare it to other countries in our hemisphere. I think Canada has done a little bit better off in terms of listening to medical advice and whatnot.
And you, Shelby, when you first heard about COVID-19, I mean, we in Malaysia and in this part of the world, we've had all kinds of scares. You know, we had SARS, and then
Mm-hmm.
we've had like the swine flu and all
Indeed.
kinds of mosquito viruses and all that. What was your first reaction to this?
I think I didn't expect it to go international so quickly. I assumed initially that it would be something that would be contained locally within the country, because, or at least within the region. Because if you remember things like SARS, it didn't transmit or infect as widespread as COVID did. But I think because you mentioned that you called it a bogeyman, and I think bogeyman is supposed to be quite imaginary. This is not. So this I would contradict you by saying that, oh, this is not a bogeyman, because this is quite a big deal that a lot of people have dismissed for a while, and now because of this dismissal, we are now facing the reality that it is more risky than we thought.
I'm glad that you did contradict me, because I think that a lot of people need that sort of configuring of how they think of this, because a lot of people are thinking of it as a bogeyman, like, okay, it's there, you know, but it won't come and touch me or haunt me or kacau me if I have faith, or, you know, I take my supplements, or if I just sanitize and things like that. So I think the word bogeyman we use is because everyone is thinking it's there, like it's not going to affect me, but it's getting closer and closer. First it was 6 degrees of separation, now it's becoming like 3, and now I actually know people who have suffered it. I mean, in Malaysia, in Canada, it's a bit different because I don't know the scene there, you know, but I know Ejaaz, and Ejaaz got COVID-19. So Ejaaz, tell us about your experience of COVID-19. How did you know you had it or suspect that you had it? And then where do you think you possibly contracted it? Through just, you know, day to day leading your life normally, or did you go somewhere where, you know, there were all these people were infected, like the zombie apocalypse, you know? And then what were your emotions when you first found out you had it?
To add a little levity to the situation, actually I was at home eating dinner, and I was having an Indian dish. It was a naan bread and some very spicy curry. But for some reason, and I know this restaurant that I've always ate from was fantastic, but for some reason, this one meal, everything was extra salty, and I never. It didn't hit me at that time what was going on, because my sense of smell was not really that different, but the sense of taste was very different. And then I started to see the symptoms online and on the news, and they were talking about, oh, you lose your sense of smell and your taste and whatnot. And then a light fever came on. So I was running about 41 degrees Celsius, you know, and I was feeling a bit heavy breathing and stuff like that. So that's when it kind of triggered me to go to the hospital and get tested. And sure enough, 3 days later after the test, I was positive. Now I
And
think,
Ejaaz,
yeah,
you've never had a history of like asthma or breathing difficulties or anything before?
no, 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 no.
Okay.
That's
Just can I ask if you
yeah.
had any gastrointestinal problems during the time when you felt that, you know, your appetite was waning and the taste was a little off? Do you feel that you had like stomach upset and things like that way before the fever came?
Surprisingly not.
No, okay.
So for me, my only two major symptoms that were related to COVID-19 was the lack of breathing. So
Okay.
like my lung capacity was very much gone. You
Yep.
can feel like as if half of my lungs were gone. Like it just was completely ripped away. It was difficult for me to breathe. And to be honest, there was this is the emotional part, right? Certain nights, I would go to bed thinking that, well, this is going to be my last sleep,
Yeah, I understand.
because it was very heavy breathing, and you know, of course there's
The
all this
labored
new.
breathing makes you feel like you may not wake up tomorrow kind of feeling, is it?
That's correct,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mm-mm.
And in terms of going back to Sheila's question, where did I think I got it? I think I got it from public transit. So I was taking a subway at that time, and I believe that's why I contracted it.
During
Because
that time, were you already wearing a mask?
No, we weren't wearing masks. This was in April. So for
Yes.
Canada, it was just the very, very beginning.
Beginning. Okay. Okay.
Sorry, mid-March. Mid-March was when I got that.
Yeah.
So it was at the very beginning. Nobody was really doing the mask thing,
Yes.
and I think everybody was afraid to say the mask thing out of fear of public reaction and
It
discourse.
was like
and
a
all that.
4-letter word, that mask thing.
Yes, it
Okay.
was. Yeah.
So, Ejaaz, you went to the hospital and you got tested, and what happened? Did they admit you, with all the symptoms of labored breathing and all that, or what happened after that?
Well, actually, I guess for my relative young age, they didn't see much concern. So they actually really gave me 3 Tylenols, which I guess is a Panadol in
It's
Malaysia. And
antibiotic.
yeah. So they gave me
For fever.
three Panadols, and they sent me home for the fever, right?
Yes.
Just
Correct.
to cool it down.
Yeah.
And they sent me home, but 2 days afterwards is when the heaviness of the lungs started, and they did admit me for just a few hours just to check and see, run scans and X-rays and all of that stuff, full gamut, and they couldn't find anything, and I think that's because the disease was so new that they didn't know what they were looking for,
Yeah.
right?
True.
I was saying that, oh, I cannot access half of my lungs, but all the standard procedures said,
The
yeah,
scans
no,
came
you're
back
fine.
fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah,
Interesting.
that's the
So,
tricky thing.
yeah, that's a tricky thing. So what happened? It just you went back home and you were alone at home
Yes,
in
for
isolation.
2 weeks in isolation. I'm lucky enough that we have, Grab and stuff like that here as well. So, it was a lot of ordering of food and groceries for 2 weeks.
That's true.
How did you feel emotionally? You're lying there alone. There's no relatives around. No one can do anything for you. You're having this difficulty breathing, wondering if it's going to be your last day on earth. Tell us a little bit more about that, because I think a lot of people out here say, okay, if I get that, and then I'll go to the hospital and they'll put me in a ventilator and give me medicine and I'll be okay. But what are the thoughts that go through you at that time?
So this is, again, I'm not a medical professional, but I think my little piece of information for folks that are watching, I think we are lucky to be alive at this time of the age where we have access to WhatsApp and all these other communications tools that keeps us connected with our family, right? So I think that was one very, very helpful piece. My whole family, all in Malaysia, we were messaging.
Oh, they must be
on the
worried
WhatsApp
sick.
groups. Yes, terribly, terribly worried. I'm sure my mother was another level of worried as well too.
Your mother
So yeah,
worries at the most normal
Sheila's
of
like
times.
doing her Indian nod because she's a mother.
Because I know
yes,
her,
yes,
I know his mother well. At the
yes,
best of times, she's a warrior. Yeah.
yes. So everybody was quite worried, and I think that was good distraction to see, have that chat and whatnot. And the other thing too is with Netflix, it just put on a whole lot of comedies just to distract myself, right? I think going back to what you were saying, Shelby, too, about wellness and positivity, there's no fact or evidence, but I think that also helped too, is just let my body do its thing in the background while I focus and distract myself on being happy and just see the end of the light of the tunnel.
Yeah, great attitude. So, Shelby,
Yes.
coming to you now. We've heard about Ejaaz's experience, and he's there, alive and kicking, happy, laughter, positive. Why should we take this virus seriously? I mean, we took it seriously under the lockdown, and then everything got eased. The sort of businesses started again, and everybody just got really complacent. And then we have the second wave. So tell us now, why should we really, I mean, is this going to be here for the long haul? Should we be taking it seriously? Should we all just go back and stay at home and not go out and dine and eat and, pay bills?
I think we can, in this matter, I strongly agree, and I have come to adapt the Japanese way of dealing with the virus. And according to them, they have accepted it into their lives. They'll do everything that they can to make sure preventive measures are taken out, but they've accepted that this will be part of society for the long haul, and they will deal with it accordingly. So, which means that as much as they can sanitize, they will, and then preventive measures like wearing masks and washing hands will be done, but they will not, well, not too much, so much of an extreme, be a hermit. You know, they will continue to work and to communicate and to socialize in a manner or in a fashion that is not that doesn't increase the risk of a transmission, if you know what I mean, which means that I think they will stick to a party of 20 or less in terms of mass gatherings and things like that. So I understand your take on it being called a boogeyman, because it is true. If you don't know anyone who has been infected, well, at least that's what I have noticed with humanity lah. If you don't know anybody who has been infected with COVID, you kind of mostly believe it doesn't exist, and you don't take it seriously, and people tend to think they won't die from this, you know. But the matter of fact is, it is such an unknown virus at this point, but the lethality, if that is even a word, is so high, and we can see it through the percentage of, through the rates of infection, and also the population that the population that dies from the virus. That this is not something that you can take lightly. You can't take it with a pinch of salt. This is something serious, and humans, being humans, we tend to forget really quickly. In 2 weeks, if you relax quarantine rules, people in 2 weeks, people will think that it doesn't exist anymore. But in reality, it exists. It is very real. You know, it exists. It is proliferating within the society, and hence, because we weren't paying attention, and people, you notice that people don't wear their masks properly. You know, I cannot state it. I don't know how many times I have to, I actually go up to strangers and tell them, you're wearing your mask wrong, and a lot of them are so in denial, and to me, if you're gonna wear your masks wrong, then you might as well don't wear it, you know. So the point is, what is this? Yeah, people tend to not take it seriously, and hence it's like like how viruses are. It proliferates, and suddenly it go boom, and that's what is happening right now. We weren't paying attention. We weren't continuously being strict with and vigilant, like you said, Sheila, and hence this is happening. So so the thing is, like, in my point of view, maybe I don't consider it a boogeyman, because in medicine is my industry. I see my ex-colleagues, and they are burdened with hospital overload. They are working tons of hours a day, and they are watching people die like flies. So I don't consider it a boogeyman. And I when you corrected me there, that the way you looked at it as a boogeyman, I realized that, oh yeah, I can't expect your perspective to be same as mine, and hence I cannot expect other people's perspective, because other people's perspective will be quite similar to yours, whereas I come from a very I come from a very narrow view of the disease, because I know it from from my industry's point of view. And so hence I know that, oh, this is dangerous. Oh yes, I'm gonna wear my mask properly, and oh yes, I intend to sanitize, and if I can, I'll try not to go out, and things like that. Yeah.
But I totally agree with your point of view, Shelby, that taking precautions is of the utmost importance. I mean, but again, I like what you said about the Japanese viewpoint, is that it's part of our life now. It's part of our world now. It's going to mutate and whatnot, rotate and all that. But the thing is, in coaching, when I talk to people, I tell people that which you fear the most is what you attract. Perception is projection. If you constantly focus, oh, I'm going to get it, then you attract it. But at the same time, they're taking all the precautions. So what you said, wear your mask, sanitize, don't go out unnecessarily. I mean, go out if you need to, but don't expose yourself in crowded places and all that. But at the same time, sitting down there and isolating yourself and becoming a hermit is also not an option.
Yeah,
this
correct.
is in a way a new world order. Okay.
Yeah. No, just a really quick, like, nota bene, that, you know, wearing a mask is actually 85% protection from the virus already, you know. So just by wearing the mask, you can go and socialize, and you are already like more than half protected. So actually just wear mask lah, and then you can go and teach up with your friend, you know.
Okay, I like that. You're listening all out there. Dr. Shelby's advice: just wear your mask, okay?
Properly. Wear your mask properly.
Properly, is very properly. So maybe after that, Dr. Shelby, we could ask you to give us a demonstration of how we should wear the mask. Okay, we'll do that.
Well, I don't have one right now, but just make sure that your nose is covered, because that's the simple mistake that everyone makes. And I understand, you know, it's very difficult to breathe. Nowadays, there's a mask bracket that you can buy. It's a plastic, like muzzle, you know, that you can put under your mask so that your mask doesn't get sucked into your nostrils.
On your face.
Yeah, correct. Yeah. So I mean, people are coming up with ingenious ways for you to wear your mask properly. You know, so the only point is just to wear your masks properly.
Yeah. I totally agree. And I see people sometimes wearing the mask under the chin. And have the mask hanging from one ear.
It has become like a chin accessory, I feel, in 2020, you know.
Quite an ugly one,
yeah.
Yeah. So, Shelby, can supplements, some people are saying, oh, if you take your supplements, you take herbal remedies, homeopathic recipes and all that, suddenly there's lots of people consuming ginger and turmeric. And then there was a time midway during the MCO, and everyone is saying, oh, the cure or to prevent getting COVID-19 is to drink rasam. For those of you watching who don't know what rasam is, it's like an Indian soup.
Yeah. I've had rasam, but I don't really know what it is. I only know that they will be like, Shelby, this is rasam, drink it. I'm like, oh, okay.
Okay, so it's got a lot of herbs and spices, and it's got tamarind. It's basically like tamarind water with a lot of, you know, it's got sour taste. So and everyone's saying rasam's the cure, but then a lot of Indian people in India started getting COVID-19. So apparently rasam's not the cure. So can it prevent us getting infected, really?
Well, I'll say that the key to COVID-19 prevention is mainly just in all of us, you know. So besides the practices like wearing masks and sanitizing and washing your hands, what you can do on your own is to increase your immune system. And even though, well, there is no cure to COVID-19, as we all know. If there is a cure, all of us will be off on our holidays, you know, not wearing our masks anymore. But what we can do, because everybody is always looking, like mothers especially, I feel like aunties, you know, the first thing anything happens, their version of self-care is what can we eat, you know? Yeah, so you ask your doctor, I'm sick, what can I eat? Actually, you can eat anything when you're sick, you know, but because I understand you have a sore throat, you know, and you have like a blocked nose, so obviously your taste buds is awry, you know, so hence I will prescribe you something that's very easily digestible, like porridge, congee, things like that, you know. So that, and hence people think that, oh, the only food medicine to eat when you're sick is congee, because that thing's going to make you well. Well, it's not really the case. It's just the fact that it's low in sugar, so it doesn't increase the proliferation of the bacteria, because sugar is bacteria's food, so it helps to suppress the bacteria's food kind of thing. And then and also because it's so easy to digest and also easy to consume, that's why we encourage you to have that. So I will say that to aunties out there who are looking for some
herbal cure.
So for self-care tips, vitamin C. For decades we have practiced consuming vitamin C for influenza. So this is something that that people can do. So they are taking their redoxons and their effervescent vitamin C tablets. Go ahead and do that. Although I will say everything in moderation. That's always the key to good life, because too much vitamin C and over supplementation of vitamin C is also hard on your kidneys as well. And then people have found that vitamin D recently reduces the risk of infection in terms of COVID-19 and also in terms of death. So these two supplements have been quite popular in the corona realm, vitamin C and vitamin D. And then currently, people are also looking at, I understand they were looking at rasam because I think, if I'm not mistaken, it contains ginger, garlic, and turmeric. Am I wrong or am I right? Yeah, so those three items have had studies done, and they found that it does, there are things that happen, stimulate cytokines, things that will help with your immune system, like activates lymphocytes, increase natural killer cells. So natural killer cells are just as the name says, they're actually natural killers in your body that, goes around like RoboCop, goes around looking for viruses or bacteria in your body and then kill. So the consuming that can help to increase these items, the activity of your immune system. But we have to know that all of us are different, and all of us have different health levels, and our reaction to certain herbs are not the same. Some people are allergic, some people are not. I may respond very well to it, which is why, like in treatments, some people respond to it and some people don't. So we have to look at it in that way. Generally, it will be helpful, but in how shall I say this? But the point is, we cannot rely on this. We cannot rely on this as a magic cure, because there is no magic cure yet. What we can do is we can continue to improve our health system, and
on a sustainable basis.
Yeah, and our
so
immune level.
Take your supplements and your
can take your supplements. Yeah, like I said, vitamin C and vitamin D will be something good for for people to consider. They have found that lychee mushroom, there has been studies on it, but by rats lah. So but very positive results showing the increase of the immune system levels with regards to that. Garlic and onion, also age-old antiviral properties. And then ginger and turmeric are anti-inflammatory. They're part of the anti-inflammatory diet. So I understand why people would claim that rasam is
could be an antidote to
yes,
COVID-19.
I can understand that, but of course, take your rasam. There's really no harm in that. And perhaps could be even quite beneficial to you health-wise, but it is not the answer.
Yes, I like that. That's very sensible. It's not the answer. So what you're saying, Shelby, is take your supplements, your herbs, your homeopathic treatments and all that, but with the intention of raising your immunity. It's not going to chase the bogeyman away into the shadows. It just notes. Did you take notes? Because
no, wait. What do you take? Like after your condition, do you like try to amp up your immune system and things like that?
So I don't know if this helped, but definitely. So the moment I got it, I cut out all red meat.
Ooh,
so I didn't have any
snap!
beef. So I only ate. Yeah, I only ate chicken and fish.
Whoa, that's great, dude. But yeah, good.
Yeah,
good,
and I removed any alcohol, because normally I would have a glass of wine or whatnot.
Yes.
But
and alcohol does suppress the immunity. Yes, correct.
Yeah, so I think that's actually when my recovery took a turn for the better. When I actually switched to white meat,
a healthier lifestyle.
That's right, and then I completely cut out the alcohol for the 2 weeks, and the moment I did that, it was a very visible
improvement.
Change. Yeah.
Ooh.
I can see that Shelby is a strong advocate of this healthy lifestyle. I wonder how she came alive and got so excited.
so impressed. Even
Yeah.
though I know the truth, but when you hear it, like from someone who recovers from COVID because of that, you get really like it's like you're so impressed. Like whoa,
Yes.
like the
Yeah,
theory is
so
made true, even though it's not really a theory.
I guess, Ejaaz, you kind of answered my next question by actually answering Shelby's question, because, I was going to ask her, if infected, how to ensure a faster recovery. So you kind of answered that by saying, quit the alcohol, I think coffee, tea, red meat,
Are you taking supplements though now?
I never take supplements.
Yes.
I've never taken supplements. So, I guess for your viewers out there, I don't do the vitamin C, I don't do the vitamin D. All I really did was just adapted.
Just tweak your
And I
lifestyle.
also actually have diabetes, so I take medication for that.
Okay.
So it was so for me it was just rebalancing my diet in a
Yep.
in a
Yep.
healthier manner.
Yeah.
That's
Yes.
very good advice, I think. I like the vitamin D. I mean, I'm a big advocate of vitamin C for anything. Small sore throat, vitamin C, my, Redoxon. But vitamin D, it's great knowing that. Okay, so Ejaaz has just given us some insight about how he ensured a faster recovery for himself by lifestyle change. I think actually you also want to be stopping all this processed foods and things and going back to whole foods and natural foods and organic foods as far as possible. Now, Shelby, is it possible to be reinfected if you have survived COVID-19?
Yes, indeed. I wouldn't say all, but like almost all viral infections, it is definitely possible for you to be infected again. Studies have shown that people who are infected will develop a certain immunity to it, but it is not 100% shield. So the possibility of a person being reinfected is definitely there, and also depends on a lot of factors like the person's health level at that time and her immune system at that time. The viral what you call that inoculation, which means how much virus the person the infected virus was uptake by the body, but definitely the risk is there. And for the severity, they are still doing studies. There are no conclusive studies yet to prove that a person gets more severe infection as a reinfection, but definitely the risk for you to be reinfected is there. Yeah.
So it's true that the virus is mutating, can mutate. Are there several strains of the virus? Could you get one strain now, and then with dengue, for example, the different strains, you could get one strain now and then recover and then get another strain. All these are possible.
Yeah, it is possible. So right now, the problem with the vaccine production with regards to COVID-19 is because they have found that the virus mutates quite easily, and this is not new to us, because back in SARS, this was pretty much the same issue. And also, we were hoping that at some point we will develop herd immunity. So herd immunity happens happens when a lot of us are immune, like we have like a majority immune population, so the person who is not vaccinated will develop that immunity based on what do you call that, based on like the population around them. But the problem
is collective consciousness, like a physical version of like a collective consciousness kind of thing.
I think so. I don't know what is collective consciousness.
When everyone is of the same mind,
yes,
you have
correct.
that energy, the thoughts sort of,
yeah, because like for example, if like majority of the population has this immunity against it, they will pass it down to their offsprings, and so the offspring will develop the same immunity. But the problem is we don't have time yet to develop herd immunity, because the risk of infection is so vast. So let's just say if we put 10 people inside a cage, very quickly, not even in time for 7 people to develop herd immunity to develop between the 7 people, because maybe tomorrow 8 people are already infected.
Yeah.
So
So
for
its
people who,
infection rate
so there
is
are a
quite
lot of
fast.
like anti-vaxxers people who are or who claims that, oh no, we can always depend on herd immunity. No, we can, but not yet. It's
Yeah,
way
it'll
too
take
early.
its time to develop. Yeah.
Correct.
So, Ejaaz, having heard, I'm sure you are aware of this as well, the chance of reinfection and all that. What precautions are you taking now so that, don't have another episode of this?
So just following the advice of public health, right? So
Mm.
wearing the mask everywhere I go, hand sanitizing, washing your hands. That's kind of the general rule that we're doing. I think for me, I'm a bit more in a different scenario because I work in education. So part of my job requires me to go from school to school.
Yeah.
And oftentimes I'm entering schools that are having an outbreak in progress and we don't know it until a positive
Correct. That's
test
true.
comes back, right?
Yeah.
So I'm literally entering various communities throughout the day.
Yeah. You don't know whether
I'm
you're entering during their incubation period or not.
exactly, and
Oh
and
man,
I'm
you
and
just
I'm
I do
entering
not
multiple.
envy you. I do not envy you. Oh.
Yes. I'm entering lots and lots of people's bubbles, right? We talk
Yeah,
about
correct.
here in
Oh
Canada, we
man.
talk about maintain
Yes.
a small and tight bubble, but the problem is I can't really do that
Yeah,
without
correct.
doing my
Yeah,
job.
job scope doesn't that cannot protect
Yeah,
you from that. Yeah.
exactly. So for now, anyways, for me personally, and a lot of my colleagues, what we're doing is we're having folks email us, do the proper thing, and we're trying to do a lot of support remotely,
Yes.
not face to face, and try to limit any of the face to face support elements in our IT department to after hours. So, when the students, we have a general rule: don't enter a classroom, because I might be spreading it to
Correct.
another
Because you might be a
class.
carrier. Yes.
That's right. So that is the fear, right? We don't want our team and my department to be a super spreader within public service,
Correct.
right?
Indeed.
So
Yes.
it's about wearing the mask. We've got alcohol dispensers everywhere, hand sanitizer dispensers, I should say, everywhere. So I think it's just about, and also wearing the mask and properly pinching it, right? So
Yes.
I think a lot of people, I have a mask here, a lot of people do this. Sorry, a lot of people do this,
Yes.
and
Oh, that is
you're
the
not
bane of my
blocking.
existence.
Right, exactly. So it's about like doing that,
Yes.
and and making sure the students also. So we've made that as a rule as well in our schools.
Okay.
All the students and all the teachers have to wear a mask,
Yes.
and if physical distancing is not possible, we're also provided with face shields.
Yeah. Okay.
So the students and the teachers, the safety is there.
Yes.
But at the same time, we could provide education because I worry, how do you explain to a 10-year-old child or an 8-year-old child why he or she can't see their friends, right?
Yeah, I know.
So I think it's about that like you said earlier on, it's about the mental and the mental health, and
Yeah.
how do you make sure that that's being taken care of while at the
Yes.
same time we're protecting ourselves from the virus, right?
Yeah, indeed.
So, I mean, it's been really enlightening listening to both sides of the whole coin, like in the sense that here you are, you've gone through it, and it's a serious thing. How are Canadians handling it generally now? Because when you first got it, it was March, and you said in January and February, everyone was like, okay, it's a sea, an ocean that separates us. But now, in comparison, because you've got relatives in Malaysia as well, and I'm sure you're keeping up to date with how their sentiments and whatever is the news that's happening over here. Do you see a difference in the way Canadians and Malaysians are handling it?
I don't know if there's a big difference. I think ultimately, folks, both sides here here in Canada and back in Malaysia as well, I think folks are generally following medical advice, are wearing the mask. We have little pockets of anti-maskers, folks that like to believe that this is an attack on their civil liberties, blah blah blah. And I think generally speaking here in Canada, we have folks that if they don't know what is going on, they will default to listening to someone who knows what they're talking about, which I think is helpful. If we're tying back to herd immunity, right? Having that kind of herd mentality to say, okay, just put on a mask, we'll get through this. I think generally speaking, most Canadians understand that we have to wait until we get a vaccine. And a viable one, and also a vaccinated population. I think people understand that is the goal that we're trying to reach at. It's like, for us anyways, it's like a hockey game. We're all in the third period, and we're all just trying to get to the very end. But the thing is that I think if we all wear our masks, and I think right now, anyways, we're slowly creeping into the second wave for sure. In just the past few days alone, our positive cases have been spiking. Just in my region alone, I think we had 170 new cases, just in my section. So we're seeing that going up. The province or our state has modified restrictions on geographic locations based on cases. So, for example, we've now shut down gymnasiums. We've shut down indoor dining again. And we're now re-advising people, if you're doing groceries, just send one person out. Have a designated person that goes out to the wild to face the boogeyman, so to speak. So.
We're like entering into the bird box lifestyle, like if you go out of your house, there is a very high likelihood that somebody doesn't come home, kind of thing. It's very scary, but it is true.
Okay, any final sort of last words of advice? Shelby and Ejaaz, maybe Shelby, you go first. Last words of advice to
I will
people
say, don't live in fear, but live in the thoughts of protecting yourself and each other. So that's the way to go about it, because I think that even in my community, back in the first lockdown, the reason why we had police stops was because one person actually passed away, and the person was actually so the infected individual came back from overseas, infected a family member, and that family member passed away. So then it became very real to us that you don't have to be infected to die. You can also be you can die from being infected by somebody else, and it could be anyone around you. It could be your loved one. It could be like the carrier problem, as Ejaaz was mentioning. So that thing is very true. So but to live in fear would be like to not live at all. So I would think that what we can do is by all the means that we can, we protect ourselves and each other, but we continue to make the best of life. So if we can so if that we're allowed small little pockets of meetings with friends, we do that, but also making sure all preventive measures are taken, but also still can enjoy the the mirth of company, which I understand what Ejaaz was saying about children. Like, it is sad if children don't know what it is like to play with a person anymore. I find that like, oh no, this is not the way to live, and for them to not like have, for example, go for Boy Scouts activities and things like that. Isn't that a little like, right now all what we should do is we should really try to curb this so that our children can play again, kind of thing.
Great, thank you, Shelby. And what about you, Ejaaz?
I think I would just echo what Shelby's saying, right? I think at the end of the day, we're intelligent beings, in this animal kingdom, so to speak, right? That's why we're at the top of the food chain, because we are intelligent beings. So I think now is not the time.
Most of us, Ejaaz. Most of
yes,
us.
most
There are
of
some
us.
idiots out there.
Yes, the majority of us are intelligent beings. So I think it's important to listen to those that generally are certified to have a better knowledge about this than others do. I think the problem with the internet, while it's been great for me to connect with family while I was going through COVID-19, it also has a bad side, right? It's the yin and yang, and the bad side is the misinformation. I think people need to understand where they get their information from, vet that information, and cross-reference it, right? And build an intelligent response to it. And something is wearing a mask, like you said, Shelby, 85%. You know, if this was in business, it would be a no-brainer. You
I
know,
know, right? I know, right? If somebody told you that the stock market is going to increase 85% if you buy this stock,
yes,
everybody will buy it tomorrow. Yeah. But you ask them to wear a mask, they're like, oh, they wear it like that.
Yeah. So I think for the viewers out there, just, you know, listen to public health advice. You know, we're in a tunnel, but there's a light at the end of it, and we will get there together. Yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Sheila. Pleased to meet you, Ejaaz. Thank you, everyone.
Nice meeting you too. Yeah.
It was a great session. I mean, I think we learned so much from both of you. Very, very wise words, very sensible way of looking at it. For me, I take precautions. I've got a 4.5-month-old grandchild at home, and I'm wondering, it's so sad, I'm wondering when she will ever have friends to play with and be able to go out and see life as it is. She, you know, born in a time of COVID, in isolation with the parents and not seeing the extended family because everyone is just so afraid. So I just see that it is part of the world we live in now. We can kick and scream against it, but at all costs, we need to take the precautions, not just to protect ourselves, but our loved ones. Take your supplements, take your natural foods, drink your rasam, but don't think that's going to prevent you from getting COVID. And then don't drink your rasam and go out there, you know, and just mingle without your mask. Take the precautions. Do what it takes, like the Japanese say, philosophy. Do what you need to do to protect yourself, but don't stop living life. Don't let fear stop you from living your life. Thank you very much, Dr. Shelby Kho and Ejaaz Idris, for being with us on the Sheila Exchange this Friday.